Oh, just in time.
Hello, welcome to the Republican debate. This is going to be ABC News to the debate of the Republican primaries, and we have here today the Mr. Garcia. Say hello.
Hello, guys.
We have also Senator Knox is here, but just is not participating. He's just helping me. We have also Mr. Finch, ex-governor. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, ex-governor Finch. Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you. And we also have Mr. Ali. Yes?
Mr. Miller, indeed.
Mr. Miller, sorry.
America.
Yes, Mr. Miller, sorry. No, I was looking to your past history so I could present you right. So yeah, welcome, and the Republican Party will evaluate your performances while I'm worried about the questions, naturally. I will just present the rules. Basically, you will have three major topics, and you need to talk about these three major topics. I don't have the indication from Senator Knox about more rules in this. So yeah, starting with the first topic then. The main concern during the past few months has obviously been the pandemic and the controversy around the way to face it. First question, and we can start with Senator Miller, with Mr. Miller. Sorry, Mr. Miller. If you become the next president of the United States, will you be supporting a nationwide lockdown to fight the virus, or will you prefer to combine restrictive measures with freedom to open businesses and be on the street? You have 1 minute and a half.
First of all, we are living in very terrible times, so we have to be knowledgeable with what we can do at this point. I have the feeling that a national lockdown would not help this nation at this moment. It would not help our businesses, our small businesses, the businesses that hit the most, that have the biggest problems at this point. We need to help our nation with making sure that the measurements are not strict but good enough, so we have a combined vision. So we have both the health and the economy in order.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Ex-governor, what do you think about this lockdown? Do you think there should be ex-governor Finch? Do you think that is a good idea to have this full lockdown, or do you prefer an intermediate approach? You have 1 minute and a half.
I support the way Mr. Miller wants to address the lockdown thing. I'm totally behind him. Like, we can't totally put our country in lockdown, and because that wouldn't be good for our economy.
Right.
So then, yeah.
Yeah, you still have time. You can add more things.
Oh. Well, yeah, as said, as Mr. Miller said,
Thank you.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, it's time over. So thank you. And Mr. Garcia, same question for you. What would be your approach as president?
I absolutely oppose locking down this complete country, because I agree, things have been rough in this country, people have lost people they care about, and it's terrible. But it's even more terrible the long-term effects that can occur if we lock down. People will get depressions, there will be more violence within households, and I think it's easy to also avoid all these people losing their job by having restrictions. Wash your hands, keep your distance, wear a mask, no big gatherings, avoid having a lot of different social contacts. We've seen in countries in Europe that it perfectly works this way. So we need to get this pandemic under control by using these measures rather than locking the entire country down, because the effects of locking the country down will be probably as big as not locking the country down, because then more people could die if we do nothing. But as I said, with the right measures, we can prevent these amount of people of dying, whilst we can still have the jobs and reduce the amount of deaths.
Thank you. So, Mr. Miller, when the vaccine arrives to our country, will the public healthcare system take care of making it accessible to every single American, or will you rely on private centers and insurance companies? You have 1 minute and a half.
For
Mr. Miller?
For me, my bad. I didn't pick it up. Yes, so the vaccine needs to be accessible for anybody, for everybody, but it doesn't need to be done by the privateers, because I have a feeling when we are going to do that, we're going to risk the fact that people are going to make profit out of this vaccine. And the vaccine is not to make profit out, the vaccine is made to be sure that our country is going to have a healthy state in the future, so we can move on from this pandemic and think about the future, think about economy, think about the people that had it so badly in these terrible, terrible times, and then we can move on from these terrible times. So no, I won't make it a private day. I will make it accessible for everybody and anybody, and you can volunteer in this program. You're not forced to take this vaccine, but if you want to, you can take it.
Thank you. Mr. Finch, or ex-Governor Finch, your opinion about this matter?
Yes. I will also make it public because, yeah, how am I gonna say? I don't really trust the insurances to let them vaccinate our citizens, because if we let them vaccinate the citizens of the United States, there could be some insurances who totally fuck it up or try and cheat with the system, so that's actually not good for us. So that's why I support public vaccination. It has to be available for anyone in this whole country.
Thank you, Governor. We also have now.
Can I also answer?
Yes, certainly. But I'm also referring that Senator Williams is also here. So, Mr. Garcia, same question for you. What would you make similar or different from Mr. Miller and Mr. Finch that appear to agree on this?
Normally, I would say healthcare should be where it belongs, in the hands of the American people. But at this point, the vaccine, it's so important that it's really hard to let it up to just the American people. I think the government needs to guide the American people, because we need to come up with a strategy. Who do we give the vaccine first? How can we distribute the vaccine on a large scale? How do we make sure everyone who wants the vaccine has it, is available to get it and has it in a proper manner? Because these are all things that we need to keep in mind. And if we just decentralize the distribution of the vaccine, every state will have it differently. But in the end, we are the United States, and as the United States, we must have this virus under control. And the vaccine is an important step to this. And I absolutely trust the big pharmaceutical companies that are working on that now to come up with a vaccine quickly. And I think that we should indeed maybe we can work together with some of the companies to distribute it, but the government should have a strong hand in this one.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Certainly your opinion got clear on this matter. And my last question about this topic would be, would the vaccination in your presidency be mandatory for every person, or would people have the option to opt out of this vaccination? Mr. Miller, you go first.
Like I said in my previous section, I will not make it mandatory for anybody. We have the freedom of speech, we have the freedom of choice, and this is a freedom of choice. If you want to be able to use this vaccine, you can absolutely use it. If you don't want to, you are not forced to. This is something that we have to be, that the choice has to be within the population. We will help the population with getting the vaccine to the people, but the people can decide what they want to do with the vaccine. If they don't trust that vaccine, they are able to not use it.
Yes, and just to add a small question to this, in this moment with the pandemic going really hard in America, would you make masks mandatory, or it's the same position as vaccination?
No, the mask will be mandatory in every shop, for example, or for any other public place, because we have to enforce some things. For example, in the ruling, you have to enforce some things to make the people follow that law, and this is just a law that will make this virus help to disappear. The vaccine is something that you will do to your body, and I can understand that people don't want it. So if you want it, you can have it, and if you don't, you cannot have it, for sure.
Thank you. Mr. Governor Finch, same question. Would you make vaccination and masks mandatory? Just vaccination, just masks? You have, or not, none of those? You have 1 minute and a half.
I would make both. No, I wouldn't make vaccines mandatory, but I would make masks mandatory, because yeah, why actually? Sorry.
No, you have time. Go on.
Masks would be mandatory because, yeah, we could stop spreading the virus because of that way. But yeah, actually, why am I sounding so dumb?
You have time. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Go on, Governor.
Well, we really, for the vaccination, there is only one group which has to be vaccinated mandatory, and that's the older groups, because they're more vulnerable to the virus. For the rest, it doesn't have to be mandatory.
Okay, understood. Your opinion about this. So, Mr. Garcia, same question. Masks and vaccination, mandatory or not mandatory?
Masks, yes. Vaccination, no. In this country, everyone is free, so that means they are free to choose. But wearing a mask is something that is extremely important in stopping the spread of the virus. We need everyone to wear their mask, because otherwise there's nothing we can do to stop the spread of the virus. But letting yourself get a vaccination goes way further than wearing a mask. The consequences of wearing a mask are close to zero. You might not look as great on your Instagram picture, and you might have a bit less fresh air in your mouth, but it's a lot less than a vaccination, because some people might not trust the pharmaceutical companies that make the vaccination, and in the end it's their body, so they should be able to choose if they want that vaccination or not. But for a mask, there really isn't much that you can say, oh, but this and this, or this and this, I can't wear a mask because this. You can only say I can't wear a mask if you have a medical situation that prevents you from doing so, and there's already a rule for that, that if you have a medical situation which prevents you from wearing a mask, you don't need to wear a mask.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. We also have Senator Willems that just joined the debate. Unfortunately, he had some technical issues before. Senator Willems, hello.
Yes, hello. And welcome to you all. Thanks for this debate. I'm actually shocked by the answers of my fellow competitors, because mandatory masks, they go against my fundamental right to freedom, in my opinion. Everyone should have the freedom to choose if they want to wear a mask. And a mandatory mask, that's not freedom anymore. You just get obligated to wear a mask, and I don't get it. I think we should focus on showing how important the masks are. Let people see what a mask can do. But at the end, I don't want to give someone a fine because he doesn't wear a mask. No, that's fundamental freedom to choose to not wear a mask. And we should really keep that freedom. And well, mandatory vaccines even worse. That's such a big thing to just vaccinate. And if you're against it, which could really be on religious basis, and someone high up in the government says no, you need to take this vaccine, otherwise, you can't do this anymore. No, because you have the fundamental freedom to choose.
Thank you. I might need to cut you because time is off. So
yes,
I would also like you to, as a small last question, but very short, I would like you to say a number between 1 and 10 that you use to qualify the administration of Donald Trump regarding this pandemic. Okay? Starting off, Senator Williams. Just the number.
A 6.
Thank you. Governor Finch.
A 7.
Thank you. Senator Mr. Garcia.
4.
Mr. Miller.
5.
Okay, thank you for your answers. And we will get into the next topic. So, the next topic I would ask about is the Syrian civil war. That, as you probably have been reading on the news, it's a very important matter right now in America and in the world. This week we have been witnesses of how Russia and Syria have strengthened their relationship with the meeting between Vladimir Putin and Bashar al-Assad. Donald Trump's presidency was famous for his anti-war approach and by the decrease of the troops deployed in the Middle East. How will you approach the Syrian civil war? And if a Middle Eastern leader puts in danger the lives and freedom of these people, will you be willing to take direct action in that hypothetical country? Starting, Mr. Miller. Sorry, Mr. Garcia.
So we have seen that the situation in Syria is developing very quickly from week to week, and we need to keep a close eye on that. But I don't think that this is the point to intervene. Yes, we have the strongest army in the world, and we should keep the strongest army in the world, but we shouldn't just intervene in wars for the fact of intervening. We've seen in the history that this doesn't always work and that it costs life. We should make sure that in this situation there's absolutely no way that ISIS or any other terrorist organization can use this to grow, and if they do, we will intervene. And the second thing we should make sure is that there isn't any use of chemical weapons that are on the list that is currently banned. If that happens, we are forced to intervene as well, but we will do this together with our NATO partners who are going to pay their fair share, and I will make sure that they do pay their fair share and do intervene with us together as part of their fair share as well.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Same question. Governor Finch, your approach to the Syrian civil war?
Well, we're actually going to fight the troops of al-Assad. To do that, we'll recruit some young boys and girls of around, what age would be like 16 years old. And we'll try to recruit them in our army. But there is only one thing that is important for me, and that's they have to be willing to fight for their country. And if Middle Eastern leader puts in danger the lives and freedom of his people, well, we'll try and protect the civilians and fight against the leader.
Thank you. Senator Williams, same question.
Mr. al-Assad is a dangerous man. He puts people in his country in danger. He takes away the freedom of his people. So we should stand up against that. We should give the freedom the people in Syria want. We should give them the opportunity to get the freedom. We have the means to create a freedom for these people. So I think it's really a job for us to secure the freedom of the people in Syria, and we should step up against Assad and Putin. But I want to say hereby, we should always secure world peace, so no big world war will be created. So I'll also try to go into the conversation with Russia why they support Assad.
Thank you. And finally, Mr. Miller, how would you approach the Syrian civil war?
Look, my father was a vet in Vietnam, and if there was one more useless war than we ever had in our history, then it probably would have been the Vietnam War. We went to Iraq. We said that Iraq had nuclear weapons. They had no nuclear weapons. We went to Benghazi, to Libya. We had a very fair chance that we said, okay, Gaddafi is a danger to his people, and look where Libya is at this point. It's a mess, and we left it and we didn't do anything about it. If we are going to intervene, we have to intervene with a clear vision. We have to intervene for the people. At this point, we have Russia, who is doing a very good job, our partners in a way, who are doing a very good job with approaching Assad and making peace talks. This is very good for our nation at this point, and we only will have a clear look at what's going to happen in the future with our allies, with Assad, and with also Putin. We don't need to watch Russia as the Cold War, as our enemy. We have to see Russia as one of our partners, and we have to look at this situation and look what is the best for the nation of Syria. Intervening in this situation would be very bad for our military.
Thank
Don't
you.
put our military in this danger.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. And we will continue this debate with the third topic that was given to me by Senator Knox. Another policy which made famous or infamous Trump's administration was its restrictions to the free trade based on international duties to every kind of products. We would call this the commercial war with China, with the EU and everything. So do you believe this is a good way to protect the national industry, or on the contrary, the American people would benefit more from having an open economy? 1 minute and a half starting, Senator Williams.
Yes, thank you. I think my economical philosophy is, yes, we need to support our American workers, employers, but I don't think protection is the way to do that. A free economy will support the country the best. A free economy gives us the most options to create work at the end. Protection will not lead to more jobs. Maybe on the short term, but on the long term, it's a really dangerous measure to take. And in my opinion, what Trump did, based on free trading, was dangerous for the country. We need our fellow countries, our companies, to flourish ourselves. So I think it's really important to free the economy again and work together with other countries.
Thank you. Same question, Mr. Garcia.
I'm not exactly sure if what President Trump has been doing to protect the American economy is exactly the right way, but I do agree with his main principle. We need to step up against China. I don't agree as much that we also need to step up against the EU, because we should step up together with the EU. Because China is a dangerous country. We've been the leading nation ever since the Second World War, and now China. You look at their national product, how fast that's growing, it's insane. And how do they do it? They don't have any laws that protect their workers, the environment, nothing. Of course they can make cheaper stuff there. It's also bad quality, most of the products that they make there and sell here. And if you look at that, we need to step up against it, because otherwise we will lose our leading position in the world. And then you look at China, it is not a country that you would want as being the main leading nation in the world. Just look at how things are going there. There's no freedom, a lot of censorship. They're even sending Uyghurs into concentration camps, even though they deny it. But there's so much evidence that they're doing it. We can't have a country like this lead the world. We have to do something against China, and preferably together with the EU.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Same question from Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller.
Does it work? Yes, now it works. Thank you. I think that the free economy would work in a way, but we have a problem. and the problem is China indeed. I think that I have to stand here with Mr. Garcia and say that China is indeed our problem, but it's not our only problem. One of the other problems are our own American companies that go to other countries and try to produce their products there, and cheaper. And this is not where we have to go. We have to go to a market and an economy where we have to say, okay, listen, you are an Apple. You are Apple, for example. You're a big company that produces a lot of things. And when you come to a certain point, you have to think like, what are you producing in the States and what are you producing in China? And you have to see the balance between that and say, okay, listen, if you produce so much in China, you will have to sell your things for a lot higher price. So they will come back at that point. And when they come back, we have more jobs for a lower and middle class. We will have more, the economy will grow more than ever in the States, and we will be able to be that great country again, because that was what we were. We were the great country because we produced everything from out the States. And now we are not doing that. That's the problem.
Thank you. And finally, the same question for Governor Miller.
Well, I support also the free economy stuff, and I do have to agree with Mr. Miller and Mr. Garcia. China is very dangerous, and we have to watch out that not all of our big companies like McDonald's and such, actually, yeah, that McDonald's and such don't leave the States and go somewhere else and make that economy great. We really have to support our national businesses to that they how say it, that they bring something to our GDP, and yeah,
Okay.
that's kind of it.
Okay, thank you, Governor. As the questions are finished from Senator Knox, I will just add a few ones to make it a bit more like the democratic debate and try to get more or less the same time. So, yeah. Let me just put another topic in the table. Black Lives Matter and racism have been a major concern of our country in the last months. And I want to hear your position about this question. Is there a systematic racism in American institutions like the police? Governor Finch, you go first. 1 minute and a half.
So what was the question again?
Is there systematic racism in the American institutions like the administration or the police? Is there racism?
I don't think so.
And would you like to add something?
Yeah, I think we're trying our best to keep everything as, yeah, how am I gonna politically correctly say this, like multicolorized, like we don't only accept like whites in our police our police departments. We also recruit like black people, Chinese people. So I don't think America suffers from racism. Actually,
Okay.
we're trying to do our best to multicolorize our society. If you look at present presidents, like we have had the first black president ever, and yeah, I hope that'll be once more, but I don't think it'll be for the next 4 years.
Thank you, Senator Finch. Governor Finch. Senator Williams, is there systematic racism in the American institutions?
as a black man myself, I see the problems of the black people. I see their struggles, but I doubt there's a systematic problem. I think our institutions aren't racist. I think black people have problems to reach certain positions in life. But I think that's more like how you call it, a problem concerning culture. I don't think, and you might think that's the same, but there is a small difference between, in my eyes, systematic and cultural racism. The systematic racism, I don't see it. I think every person in America has full room to grow. You've seen a black president. I'm trying to go for presidency as a black man myself. So I don't see systematic racism, but there needs to be a cultural change for the black people, because black people still struggle.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Garcia.
Definitely there is a problem, but if it's systematic, it's hard to tell. There's not enough data available for us to make a real good conclusion if it's systematic, but for sure there is a problem. If you look at the unemployment rate, it's always been higher at the black people than at the white people. If you look at the education rate, the access to college, the capita per income, it's all lower in the blacks than towards the white people. Is this caused by systematic racism? Probably not, but as I said, there's not enough data for that, and we should investigate that. But at least I can tell my direct universe, there isn't any problem that I have seen caused by systematic racism. Of course, I've heard the stories from the people who have experienced it, and those stories break my heart, because there can nothing be worse than you being absolutely perfect for a job and then they just take you just because you have a different color than somebody else. That really breaks my heart, and I think we should do something against that. But is it systematical? No, probably not. Do Black Lives Matter? Yes. Does that justify the looting? No.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. And finally, the same question for Mr. Miller.
Let me just start off with saying, if you are black or white, Asian, Afro-American, wherever you're from, Latino, you're all American. And that's the fundamentals of our country. I would say that racism is part of our country. If it's systematic or not, it is part of our country. I wouldn't say that's systematic. The reason for that is very simple. If you believe in that one change that you can get if you are here in this country, that American dream, the dream of becoming something big, then you will succeed. And I think that it's not a systematic problem, it's a problem within the people themselves. It's a problem within the media. Whenever the media is broadcasting a problem, they say it's systematic, while it was just one problem. So I think that the media fuels this systematic ideology of these people, while there is not nothing systematic going on. There is a problem with racism, and it needs to stop. But it is a problem that is already for several hundred of years, and it's not going to stop now or tomorrow, if I'm going to say that. So we have to realize that racism is part of this country.
Thank you. Same question. Oh no, it's over. Sorry, I'll do the question to the full. So, thank you all. So I will give you a last gold minute that I also gave in the other debate. So please, your final message in 1 minute for the American people, Senator Williams.
They're Americans. I think we live in a country of freedom. The most important value we can have. Freedom to wear a gun, to defend ourselves. Freedom to choose a school. Do we want to go to a private school? Do we want to go to a public school? We have those options. We need to keep those freedoms. Also, for my religious followers, I think God gave me the opportunity to become the president of the United States, and my important religious values. I want for you to this country to flourish under with the power of God, and yeah, we America is a great country, and we need to keep it that way.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Same question.
Americans, every single one of you is privileged to live here. We live in an amazing country, but ask yourself, where do I see myself standing in 10 years? Where do I see my children stand, if you have them, in 15 years? Where do I see my grandchildren stand in 40 years? I hope you all see them at the top, somewhere in a successful career. But we need to be able to give them that opportunity to have that successful career. And not all of this talk, we will do this, we will do that, and then in the end, people do nothing for you in Washington. I will actually be in Washington for you. I will represent you, I will represent your thoughts, and I will make sure that your children, your grandchildren, and yourself, that you all have that opportunity to be able to make that success, to complete that American dream. Because that is what this country is all about.
Thank you. And Mr. Miller, your gold minute. Mr. Miller? Mr. Miller?
Am I on? Yes. As a nation, we are very close to a vaccine. It will be out, we don't know, in a month, maybe in 2 months. And after that, what are we going to do with this nation? I'm not looking with you 5, 10, or 15 years ahead. I'm looking for you for this next year, these next 2 years. What are you going to do with this nation? Some people lost their jobs. Some people lost their businesses. What are we going to do with those people? There is not a single person that talked about those people. The people that have those small businesses that lost their jobs. They have nothing. They're struggling to pay the rents. And who is coming up for those people? I am. I will come up for you. I will help these people. I have a plan to help you all. I will give every single small business that has problems paying their bills between $10,000 and $30,000 so you can boost your business up again. I will help every small income to help them, lower the taxes, raise the salaries. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make America great again, but for real now. And we're going to make this country united again, because we are the most divided since we have ever been. United we stand. Choose for the best, choose Miller.
Thank you. Finally, Governor Finch, your gold minute. Tell your final message to the American people.
Dear Americans, well, we're all in this together. We're in this together when the whole economy fails because of the coronavirus. We might be in a fucking mess, but we are going to make it. And like Sinatra said, I'm gonna make it anywhere. Like, that does not only count for me, but that also counts for you. If you believe in it, you can make it. And there will be one great savior watching all over us, namely God. If we try and work together as all Americans, we can beat fucking Assad and Putin. We can beat the coronavirus. We can beat everything. So that's what I'm gonna say. Choose Finch, and America will be great again. In God we trust. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Governor Finch. And with this moment, I think we can finish this debate. Thank you all for watching, and we will see in the primaries next week. Primaries in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina. Stay tuned, and goodbye until the next debate.